This stage is for underground artists, entrepreneurs, and game changers. The people you see selling CDs out of their trunks, hawking books on the side of the freeway, sacrificing time away from their kids, dumping their savings in their tanks and hitting the road. It's for the weirdos. Trendsetters, alternative thinkers redefining the field with their alternative mindsets. Mike's Uncut is a movement. It's about passion, sacrifice, believing in yourself when no one else does. Mike's Uncut is for you. We all know who we are. And now, you will too. Welcome, Peoria. I'm your host, Ahavah Mauré, and this is Mike's Uncut. We've had an exciting time today down on set as we're in the company of Peoria Magazine, who's doing a photo shoot with us and a little bit of filming. So I want to take a second to extend a warm thank you and welcome to them. And of course, a big thank you to the Carver Center for allowing us to use their space to film season 2 of Mike's Uncut. If you are a musician in Peoria or have an active Facebook account at all, then you are no stranger to our next guest. He proudly represents his Christian faith, identifying as a Christian rapper, and believes in his efforts to advance and promote his belief with his works, which involve promoting unity in the community, but not only on a field level, but also on a systematic one. And he has also taken this message on the road, opening for the likes of Cat DeLuna and also Chance the Rapper and many others. He's also been on Peoria's own Living Well. I'm talking about none other than Mr. Josiah Williams. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. We're excited to have you. So you have been all over California, New York, originally from Milwaukee.
Yes.
How did you end up settling in Peoria, Illinois?
I came here for school. I've been a theater student all of my life. I went to schools that practice like music and drama and dance and all that. And when I was in high school, I really wanted to go to college for theater.
Yeah.
I applied to a bunch of schools like Juilliard in New York and Columbia and Chicago, and getting into those schools was cool, but I started to realize it was more so about like the competition of getting on stage rather than like learning. So I decided to pull a last minute audible and looked at a random school in Peoria, Illinois, and it worked out though. I mean, when I came to campus, it was like just a family, and I knew it was exactly where I wanted to be.
That's a huge blessing, especially for the work that you're in, which I imagine requires a lot of support and understanding from your friends and family. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, my mom has always been super supportive of everything that I've done. I kind of model her in a way because she's the person in my life who has a bunch of stuff going on, but can kind of like bring it back in. So she's she came to Milwaukee originally to be a youth minister. Okay. She leads a 2-acre urban farm, which serves as a community garden. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a community garden, wow.
Yeah, she's a singer. She did a lot of dancing when she was younger. She does a little bit of everything, and it's kind of similar to me. Of like I have all this stuff going on, but I try to find a way to still be sane at the end of the day.
Exactly. So, yeah. What are some of the sacrifices that you have made in your musical career?
In my musical career, that's a good question. So switching over from just straight regular hip hop and transitioning over to Christian hip hop, you lose a lot because your target audience has now dwindled, by a lot. Everybody doesn't want to hear, about Jesus all the time in their music and stuff. So you're catering to a completely different audience. I think that was one of the biggest sacrifices of like losing a platform in a way, and losing the broader audience. But I think it was worth it. I think that if I want to use my music and use my platform to put up something that's not just about me, but about what I believe in and about what I think the rest of the world should believe in, then you got to go for it.
Did that transition mirror your own interpersonal faith? Okay.
It did. I've always been a Christian, and I grew up in the church. My mom, like I said, she was a youth minister when she came to Milwaukee, and it traveled with me. But it was something, when I came to college, and I think a lot of people experience this too, but when you go to college, it's like, oh, I'm free. Like, I'm about to have some fun while I'm here, and I did.
Too much freedom.
Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't crazy, I wasn't reckless, but there were definitely moments where it's like, man, I'm doing a little bit too much. I need to relax. And it was right around that, graduation, senior year, just the whole senior year, and right afterwards, where I really began to focus in on just changing my life and getting it back on track. So.
I was also raised in the church, Christian home and everything, and we went to church diligently, and Bible studies, Sunday school, Wednesday, Thursday, all that, for every activity program that the church was having. In my early 20s, I actually accepted a different path. So that's when I was introduced to the more spiritual, I'll call it holistic, spirituality, and more non-religious. And my question is, did you ever think that your music would be able to be a testimony or speak life to those who are considered non-believers? So I gotta tell you, when I listen to your music, I'm like tearful, like sobbing, weeping. It's really moving, and you can relate to it. I think regardless if you're a Christian or not.
Yeah, I did. That was kind of my goal, because you want people who are in the church obviously to love it and appreciate it, but there's more than that. It's like, it's the idea of when you go to church, you don't want to just be shut into those walls. You're supposed to be calling in people and bringing in people and, making it available to everybody. And that's kind of my goal with my music. It's like, I'm a regular dude, just like most people, but I want to be able to share that with people, and I want it to be told in a way that's, not intimidating. It's not about like telling you that you're wrong because you believe something and I'm right because I do. It's like, I just share with what I feel. And I kind of tie that into why I chose to just be myself as Josiah Williams and not have like a quick, easy catch name that would probably have taken off a lot easier. But it's just me talking about what I deal with, and that's really what it is.
So you appreciate and like the fact that all walks of life and faith love your music.
Yeah, because we're all different. We come from different backgrounds. We have different stories, and that's kind of what I try to promote. It's we celebrate our differences. It's not just pushing you away because you talk like this or you speak like this. It's not that. I want to be able to share that I'm, a guy from Milwaukee, moved to Peoria, but I have a lot to talk about, and I, want people to listen.
Right. Diversity, how monotonous and homogenous a society we would be if we didn't promote and encourage that.
Exactly.
So do you have any goals, or how do you feel about being identified and known as a Christian rapper, as opposed to a rapper with that message being wholly incorporated, or the primary message of your music?
I love it. I didn't love it at first because it was hard to transition, and a lot of people didn't appreciate that transition. I do everything like as an independent artist, so as I was going through my email list and sending stuff out, I would see the unsubscribes come in of like, no, I'm not following that. I don't want to do that anymore.
And this is when you began to identify as a Christian rapper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd that make you feel?
Frustrated at the moment, because it's like, what I haven't really, of course I've changed my path from music, but I'm still the same person. I'm still, I haven't changed that much about me. So I felt like I was being pushed away by a lot of people who I thought I had support from. But I understood it too, Do you think that was from personal convictions, like, oh goodness, he's redefining himself and rediscovering his faith, so now he's gonna try to drag me to the church? Or do you think it was just ignorance? Like, I don't know if it was ignorance. I think it was more so the first thing of, it's a different type of message that you're hearing. My music in the beginning, it wasn't negative or anything like that. It just wasn't God-centered.
Right.
And I feel like that's not always the easiest thing to listen to. So yeah, in the beginning it was really frustrating, but I love it now because I'm bold about it, you know.
Right.
I don't shy away from it, and I think it's a cool story to tell people. But I think the best thing about it is when I see people who are like, who get it and who love it,
Yeah.
and they're able to share with me why, it's like, I have to do it for them.
That'd be a whole separate episode if I told you why I love your music so much. But for anyone who listens to it, it isn't, you know, old school hymnals. You have jazz influences.
Yeah.
You still have that urban, edgy hip hop in there. But you definitely do not shy away from proclaiming and identifying who your Lord and Savior and Creator is in your music.
And I think that's important too. And I see it on both sides. You know, there are without, I guess, saying names, there are Christian rappers who have been labeled as Christian rappers who are now transitioning into, I'm just a rapper. And that works. I think it's still cool because it's able to elevate their platform. But I think it's still important to be able to stand firm on what I believe. If I came into this and I found, you know, a good amount of success as a Christian rapper, I want it to stay that way. And I can still make music, you know, regardless of just hip hop songs or, you know, just R&B songs, but my platform is predominantly a Christian hip hop platform.
Okay. So you were speaking about how you have a theater background.
Yes.
And you're very animated and artistic.
Yes.
However, your most recent project that you put out, you weren't the center of attention in your video.
No.
What was the motivation and the birth behind Together We Work?
I feel like we as people, just American people, do a really good job of pointing the blame when we see that something is wrong. And I feel like we, as artists, we have a good opportunity to be able to say what we want to, or, you know, express how we feel. And I didn't want to go about it that way. I made a song that kind of addressed where we should be looking towards and, you know, some of the things that we should be doing, but I didn't want it to say, well, your political party is wrong, or your, you know, what you believe in is wrong. I wanted to kind of encourage people. And within that, with the focus from a visual standpoint, I didn't want to be the guy who's just like, you know, rapping and dancing in front of the camera. I wanted to kind of put other people on display and show that we can come together and live, like, you know. And the biggest thing that I've seen with videos like those, it's, you know, we need to be one people. And I get that, but it's a little bit more than that, because as one people, then you're saying that we're all the same, and we're not all the same. I wanted to be able to share our differences and celebrate those differences in love, and create a song that was in love. So Together We Work is exactly that. It's we can work together, but we can celebrate who we are individually.
Right. And you took a very creative approach for that video. You invited the whole city, I believe, to come and cameo in your video. How was that turnout?
It was pretty good. Honestly, I didn't expect a whole lot. I mean, this is a city that's not used to stuff like that. So I wasn't expecting...
Community engagement, is that what you were speaking towards?
Not necessarily community engagement, because we have a lot of different organizations that try to engage the community. But, you know, music video shoots that involve the public and stuff like that. That's something that you'll see more in like a New York or a Los Angeles, you know. But I still wanted to try and do that. And we had a goal, just 50 people. Let's just get 50 people in front of the camera. We ended up with about 85.
Okay.
It was pretty good. A good mix of everybody. We saw all types of skin tones, backgrounds, short, tall, black, white. You know, it was everyone.
And you fit everyone in the video?
Yeah,
That's impressive.
So everyone had their own like cameo shot, and we were holding up signs that had positive messages and encouraging messages. And then,
who's the artist that you partnered with for that artwork?
Yes, so her name is Chelsea Tams. She graduated 2 years after I did from Bradley, the year that my sister graduated from Bradley. And she has her own lettering company, Small Business Lettering Works. And it's amazing what she does. If you're in Peoria and you get on Snapchat and you go through the filters, she designed like half of those filters that are used throughout the city.
That's incredible.
Yeah, she has a very positive message that I wanted to kind of like share with everyone.
So you partnered with her to do the lettering imaging for your video.
Yes, and I think that it's something that catches people's eyes immediately. When people walked in and saw the stuff on the wall and were able to interact with it, that's exactly what I wanted to do, because art kind of draws you in. It makes you think about different things, and it makes you want to be a part of it. So I figured use your platform to get other people involved.
Okay. So where can we find you performing, or any events that you'll be involved in the near future?
Well, a little bit of everywhere, but if you just go to like my website, everything should be listed, for upcoming performances. And I even keep up previous performances just to see, to show like where I've been and what things I've done. Last year, I went throughout like Rochester, New York. This year upcoming, we have a big conference that's every 3 years, 35,000 kids come to the city. They do service, they learn about the Bible, and they have fun. So
Where
I'll
is
be
this?
performing. This one is in Houston.
Okay, wow.
It's called the ELCA Youth Gathering. So I'll be a part of that as well.
That's wonderful. So we'll definitely go to your website, which is
jdeanwilliams.com.
Okay, to check that out and
Yeah.
see about your performances.
Absolutely.
Did you ever think that your music would bring you to these heights?
No.
You've had the opportunity to perform with some greats, some of your, not mentors, but musical idols.
Kind of like role models, yeah.
Yes.
No. When I started making music, I had a laptop, and I was playing with GarageBand, and I was just recording stuff. It was bad. It was really
bad or bad good?
It was. I understand that too. I got that. No, it was just, it didn't sound good. Like what I had to say was good, it was positive, but it wasn't like, it's the guy who doesn't mix and master the music. That's what it sounded like, because that's what it was. I didn't do anything from an audio engineering standpoint. I just plugged in a microphone and just went with it. And it took me a while to understand, because I would get so frustrated. It's like, I'm a college student, I'm broke. Like, let me just do what I want to do. But if you're really about that life as a musician, you have to invest in it.
Exactly.
And it took me a while to really like grasp that. So no, I didn't think that it would take me, to where I am now, and not necessarily that I'm at some huge platform or anything, but I like being able to walk into a church or walk into a bar or walk into a community center and just be able to perform what I like, and people still enjoy it. Yeah, absolutely love it.
Wonderful. Okay, so we've been talking about your music for some time, and I hope I've built up the anxiety and eagerness to actually hear it and see you perform.
Yes.
So Josiah will be performing for us in just a minute after this break. Stay tuned.
Yeah. J. Will. So I'm bowing my head, closing my eyes, but I open my heart so you can open my mind. Bowing my head, Lord, closing my eyes, yeah.
Dear Lord, I follow your word when I'm ready for it. That sounds crazy, don't it? I'm infatuated with happiness, living in the moment. Black or white is never followed, cause I settle for gray. I live for the day and I'm letting my joy slip away. I've been losing my focus, slowly becoming hopeless. You treat me like I'm yours, I treat me like I'm broken. Father who art in heaven, I have become a weapon, and I backfire far away from your presence. I'm lost, I'm drifting, my heart has been conflicting. I know just what is missing, but I only feel like quitting, cause I'm lost, I'm drifting. My heart has been conflicting, it's dark, then it hits me. I fall, but you lift me. Do not be anxious, but in every situation, look up and give thanks to the ruler of these nations. I pray for the days when I embrace their patience, and I'll stand on the stage with elation and say, I want a whole lot of more of what you got for me, Lord. I know that you're waiting, sitting at the top for me, Lord. I know you're my solid ground, you're the rock for me, Lord. Heard you got a plan for me and what's not for me, Lord. So I'm bowing my head and I'm closing my eyes, but I open my heart so you can open my mind. Lord, I'm bowing my head and I'm closing my eyes, but I open my heart so you can open my mind. I want
So I'm bowing my head, closing my eyes, but I open my heart so you can open my mind. Lord, I'm bowing my head.
follow your word like it's optional, only when it's optimal. I walk away and come back when I'm ready like the prodigal. I'm feeling lifeless, I'm unholy and righteous. I've been praying for sanity, but I'm craving excitement. I don't know why I've been falling onto this track that I'm walking, and I feel bad for ignoring every time that God has been calling. And yeah, I know it's only cause he want the best for me, but decisions that I make only mess up my testimony. I'm lost, I'm drifting, my heart has been conflicting. I know just what is missing, but I only feel like quitting cause I'm lost, I'm drifting, my heart has been conflicting. You tell me that you're with me, you're never gonna forget me. That's the moment I remember, I've been saved by grace, and I've been living, breathing every single day by faith. Your holy son is the one who you took up in my place. I'm walking better cause I know I serve a God that's great. I want a whole lot of more of what you got for me, Lord. I know that you're waiting, sitting at the top for me, Lord. I know you're on solid ground, you're the rock for me, Lord. Heard you got a plan for me and was not for me, Lord. So I'm bowing my head and I'm closing my eyes, but I open my heart so you can open my mind. Lord, I'm bowing my head and I'm closing my eyes, but I open my heart so you can open my mind. I want bowing my head, closing my eyes, but I open my heart so you can open my mind. I'm bowing my head, Lord, closing my eyes, but I open my heart so you can open my mind. It's the moment I remember, I've been saved by grace, and I've been living, breathing every single day by faith. Your holy son is the one who you took up in my place. I'm walking better cause I know I serve a God that's great. Love.
That was incredible. It was a really intense piece.
Thank you. Thank you.
What was happening in your life when you produced that?
So I made the song 2 years ago, and I wanted to release it immediately. A lot of things went wrong. The song contains a sample, well, the original song, I should say, contained a sample that I wasn't able to get cleared. I fought with the record label for about a year and basically got ignored. Are
you currently signed, or the label who owned the sample?
Yes, the label who owned the sample wouldn't clear it, and they, initiated it as if, okay, we can make this work and we'll be able to do it, and it didn't happen. I also had a feature in the second verse, and he was committed and everything, and then never came through. And I got so frustrated throughout the whole process. But I decided that it was a song that needed to be shared because I felt like the lyrics were that it was a story that could be related to.
Absolutely.
That it's something that everyone can kind of, at some point in their life, has gone through in a way. And I felt like it was important to make happen. So it's the first single for my new album, and I couldn't have been more excited to share it.
What is the name of that album?
The album is The True Gold, available April 6th.
So it's coming out April 6th. So that really was a trying process, a 2-year process for you from beginning to end to get that out.
And it was, it kind of mirrored the full process because I took a year and a half to just stop releasing music and write and record and put together a body of work that I was actually comfortable with.
Okay.
Yeah.
That song, you said perfectly, if your goal was to have it be something relatable, it definitely is. I think Together We Work is my favorite track because it's such a community effort. Like you said, everyone's pointing the blame, and we can all articulate very well what the problem is, but no one's standing up to do it. And if we are, not together,
Exactly.
So I love the message in that one, but I would have to say More and More touched me the most. As I was saying, not being a Christian person, but still being able to be affected that much by a song that specifically is by a Christian rapper. And I say that because I think that a lot of people have that kind of secular mind that, I wouldn't even look to go support this type of artist if they don't represent my faith. And how much you're missing out on.
I think, I've experienced that with a lot of people too. And, I always try to reach out to everyone, no matter what I do, where I am. I have some great friends who are pure atheists, and we've talked about that. Or then there are some people who we haven't talked about that because they know, we won't really be friends after that. And not on my end, but
Limits.
right. I've experienced a lot of people who think that, you know, I operate from like a judgmental view,
Right.
and that's not what
I don't
it's
see
about.
that
No.
when I look at you,
No,
or
not
when
at
I'm
all.
around you, your energy rather. I don't get that from you at all.
I don't like. I've seen people who act like that
Yeah.
and who behave like that. You don't accomplish anything. You just push people further away, and that's not what I want to represent. So yeah, I literally tried to make music for everybody,
Yeah.
whether you're 3 years old or 100.
And that goes to the music for my homies. What does
Yes.
that mean?
Yes.
I almost forgot to ask you that. I'm so glad you said that. You make music for the homies.
Yes.
What is that?
So the backstory to that, for people who don't know, I have
Rolling with the okay. I'm done.
I have it's what's called the EPK. It's your electronic press kit. I did this interview, and I said in the interview that I make music for my homies, and everybody is a homie. When I think about Jesus, right? Jesus came to this world, and he reached out to everybody. He was known as the guy who was, you know, talking to the lady who the city would like not speak
Ostracize
to.
and-
Right. He was known for talking to the people who had like diseases and who the town would hate on and all this other stuff. And if the Bible tells me that God came to the world in man form for everybody, then I need to be representing that for everybody. No matter what you look like, doesn't matter where you came from, I need to make music for all of God's people. His people is everyone. Everybody's a homie. I make music for the homies.
I love it. That's really catchy.
And
and
it
really
sounds
profound.
kind of cheesy, but it's like,
It's
I don't
not
really
cheesy.
care.
I
Like,
love it. Well, maybe I'm cheesy. I like it. I like it, and it's profound. So more and more.
Yeah.
Really is powerful. You say so many things that resonate with me. One of the messages was you can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. I don't know who can. But how many times have I tried?
Yeah,
And you get the results, and I'm like, okay, I've ran into this same brick wall before. We're very familiar with each other.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that. Is it Tamala Man?
I think I understand.
I went left, you told me to go right.
Yes,
That's
yes.
one of my favorite. There's a mime dance to that. That oh my God, it's really powerful. What were some of the things that you were wanting to resonate with folks from that track?
I think everyone has something more that they want to achieve, whether it's like, I want to be better on my job, I want to be a better, you know, boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever side. I want to make more money. I want to do this, and that. And we get so caught up in stuff that, you know, of course you want that and you try so hard to do that, but there are certain things that you can't do on your own.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that you can possibly do certain things on your own. And that's what I wanted to communicate. You know, regardless of what that is for you, you know, there's something that you may want more than anything else. But realize that God loves you and God supports you, and that He's there to encourage you in that. I know for me, it was a mix of a bunch of different things. I felt like I wasn't doing my best as an artist. I felt like I was kind of like not straying away from my faith, but not supporting it in the way that I should be. I felt like I didn't even really, for a time, didn't even like pray. I'm just sitting there trying to fix things and work on things on my own, and it's like, you can't do that. And that's what the song communicates. It's like, I need more of God. I need more of conversation. I need more of just being honest with myself about what I'm going through, because you feel free after all that. Like, I can't keep carrying this weight on my shoulders. It's just hurting me. It's pushing me down. When you let all that go, you're able to just live.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Such powerful messages from you. We really appreciate you, Peoria, and definitely beyond, because you're certainly not limited to this area with all the work that you've done. There you have it, Peoria. Josiah Williams, Christian rapper, motivational speaker, and of course, above else, child of God. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm your host, Ahavah Mauré, and this is Mike's Uncut.